And we're live. Hi all. Um, Here's my second Leicester City update. Um, a week on from the last one, I thought I'd just have a little look at what's been happening this week and where we're at. Obviously, the big news yesterday was that Ryan Bertrand has officially signed on the dotted line and has joined the club for pre-season. Um, I saw the interview with him, the introduction. I thought it was really positive. He clearly is buying into what Brendan's trying to do. They obviously know each other from I think it was a loan spell when Bertrand was at Reading quite a few years ago. So I think that's really positive as well. They know each other, and and a free transfer as well. So a really positive move for Leicester. The competition that we have at fullbacks now is it's really strong. Having Castagna, Pereira on one side, Thomas and Bertrand on the other, and then obviously Justin, who can play either. Even Castagna can fill in at left back if we need. So it's really a really positive move. We've got great competition for places, especially in those positions, and an astute free signing. I think I was trying to think of the last kind of big kind of free player we got at the end of a contract. I know that obviously Johnny Evans was really cheap, like around the 3 mil mark. Cambiasso from back in the day was a great free signing. So I think it's really positive. He brings experience to the team, and it just means that I hope we've still got money in the pot to use elsewhere. So yeah, that was really positive. Obviously, he joined Samare and Daka now as our official signing so far this season. I think that it's really positive to see Leicester making early moves and securing free key players early on in the transfer window. They're in place, ready for pre-season. They've got plenty of time to kind of bed in and get used to the squad and the surroundings. So yeah, really positive. And now my attention turns to kind of who's next. I wonder, is free enough? I looked at previous seasons, often kind of free, maybe a couple more first team players is normally what we end up bringing in. I think that centre back is clearly still a position that they are looking to fill, judging by the rumours that are out there. This week we've been linked to this young Uruguayan defender who plays in Mexico, I believe for Copa America, Caceres. And the rumours are around 20 million, and there's a lot of kind of positive positive comments coming out about him, that he's a really good prospect in South America. It would be a bit out of the ordinary for us. I don't recall us kind of ever bringing in someone from outside of Europe, not in recent years anyway. But in terms of being kind of a young centre back, not someone who's going to be starting or be first choice anytime soon, it's an interesting one to keep an eye on. The other one that seems to be gaining a lot more traction is Kabak at Schalke. These rumours seem to kind of be snowballing, and the price quoted is around kind of 12 million. Obviously, as I mentioned in the last video, he's got Premier League experience now that he kind of had his loan spell at Liverpool. They decided not to take him up on that, but with Schalke being relegated to the second division, I think that he's going to be moving on, and it does make a lot of sense that he's someone that we would be looking at. He would be kind of fourth choice behind Soyuncu, Fofana, and Evans. It's not that expensive. He's still young, got international experience with Turkey. Obviously knows Soyuncu really well and has played with Soyuncu. So yeah, watch this space. I wouldn't be surprised if Kabak's the next person to come in the next couple of weeks. And then elsewhere, kind of, it's been a bit quiet. Some of the people that we've been linked with in the past, it seems to have kind of died down a bit. Definitely, I haven't seen any kind of Berardi rumours anymore, or a couple of other attacking players. One that I did see again today, and that has been linked a few times, is Daniel James at United. Again, he does kind of fit the profile. He's young, he's Premier League proven. He, by all accounts, he's still a good prospect. He was a key player for Wales at the Euros, and I still think that the wing, is a position that we do need some more competition. Obviously, he's extremely quick, and he's not a bad technical player either. But it's just not really happened for him at United, and the competition for places there, is a lot more kind of fierce than it was a few seasons ago, especially with the imminent signing of Jadon Sancho. I think that it makes a lot of sense that they'll be looking to maybe move Daniel James on now that Sancho's coming in. I just don't think that they have space for him really in the squad anymore. So I'd be interested to see what people think about that. I'd be open to having him, not necessarily as a first teamer, but to provide competition. Obviously, we've got the Europa League, so there'll be plenty of games for him to get game time. So yeah, one to keep an eye on. And the only other one that I've seen again linked today, and again it's kind of been going on through the summer, is Mateus Pereira at West Brom. I think he had a great season last season, considering he was playing for a relegation side who were struggling. He clearly stood out as their best player. I think he scored a hat-trick against Chelsea, was it? Again, can kind of play in that centre attacking midfield role, which I think we still kind of need someone. I'd be surprised if he was to stay at West Brom and play in the Championship when, he's clearly above that level. And so, yeah, I think that's another possibility. And when we were first linked with him, I definitely thought, this is a strong possibility and someone who could really kind of add to the squad. A little look at people that could be on the way out still. So the Yuri Tillemans link to Liverpool kind of keeps persisting. I know that we obviously have offered him a new contract, and that's kind of on the table at the moment. And what with the Euros and everything, he's taken a bit of a holiday after that. And when he comes back, he's kind of going to decide. I suppose he's either going to probably sign the new contract, which I suppose is probably contains quite a big pay bump for him, considering he's become such a key player, or he may have to kind of make the decision to maybe request a transfer or make it clear that he's very interested in the move to Liverpool. I think we couldn't blame him. Liverpool's a huge side. They've just lost Wijnaldum. So there's a gap there in their centre midfield that I'm sure he could do a job for them. The price quoted is about 67 million. Obviously it's a good price for us. We did pay quite a lot for him. I think it was around the kind of 40 million mark, but it's still a healthy profit. And if Liverpool would be willing to stump up that much, then I think that there is a possibility that it could happen. Not that I want him to leave. He's a fan's favourite. He scored that amazing goal in the FA Cup final, which has kind of forever cemented his place as a Leicester legend for me. And I definitely think that, he could benefit from staying, another year or two on a bumper contract and maybe look for a move then. He's still young, still got plenty of years ahead of him. And by all accounts, he enjoys it at Leicester. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Hopefully he stays. There's rumours that Liverpool might be going a bit cold on it now. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that one when he's back from holiday. And then in terms of who else might leave, I thought centre midfield in general, and this is another reason why the Tillemans rumours kind of make sense to me, is that now that we've brought in Samare, I think that we have too much competition in centre midfield. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall's come back from his loan, which by all accounts was a really successful loan. He proved himself in the Championship, and I've been wanting to see him be given a chance in the Leicester team for a couple of years now. I think he's a really good prospect. I think he's already 22 or 23, so he's getting to that age now where he kind of really needs to start breaking into the first team, or he needs to kind of move on for the benefit of his own career. But when you look at the centre midfield positions, obviously we've got Tielemans and Ndidi as starters. We brought in Samare, so that's 3, and then we've got Mendy and Chowdhury still in the squad. That takes it to 5. Dewsbury Hall is 6, and Dennis Pratt is 7. So 7 centre midfielders competing for 2 spots is too much for me. And so I think we will be moving on at least 1, maybe 2. And I know that in terms of rumours, Chowdhury's been linked in the past with maybe moves to kind of Newcastle or Norwich. Mendy did sign a new contract, I think, last season, but he's never been a regular starter. And although Brendan does kind of trust him when needed, is he going to play enough in this team now? Like I say, I'd like to see Dewsbury Hall given a chance. I don't think Tielemans is going to be going anywhere, and Didi certainly won't be. And then there's Dennis Praet, who I think for his own sake, I think it could be time that he moves on. I feel like we could probably get most of the money that we spent on him, and he could move to a good club and be a regular player for them. But yeah, I know that a lot of fans kind of still a bit undecided on Hamza. And again, same for him. Maybe he's getting to that age now where he needs to be playing regularly, and it's clearly not going to happen at Leicester. He can be a utility player. He can be called upon as a late sub to add some energy to the team, or for cup games or something. But in terms of a Premier League player, he's not going to be featuring very much. So out of those 7 midfielders, I would think 2 might go, and I think it will probably be Chowdhury and then either Mendy or Dennis Praet, I say. And players staying. So obviously, a lot of players have kind of been linked with a move away. It's only natural with the seasons that the last couple of seasons that we've had, and kind of their age, and clubs know that Leicester's kind of a breeding ground now for talented players. But it looks like, I read the other day that Albrighton, despite the kind of links to Burnley, looks set to stay. I think that. In the article that I read, it kind of said that Brendan's keen to keep hold of his experienced players now that Wes and Fuchs have moved on, and he is clearly a key member of that dressing room and has been for many years. The example that he sets is outstanding, and I'd be very happy to keep him. Again, I think the only problem for him is that he's not going to be a regular starter, but as I said, we've got plenty of games to play. Everyone will get game time, and he still has a lot to offer, I think, for Leicester. And the other one is James Maddison. Obviously, the links to Arsenal keep going on. As I said in my last video, I can't see it happening. And the longer it goes on, Arsenal are being linked with so many names. I just don't think that they're going to be able to get to the asking price that we're probably going to demand. There were rumours that they had offered to double Maddison's salary to 200 grand a week. They are capable of offering big contracts, but I don't think now's the time for Maddison to move on, and we still need him. Unless we're going to bring in a top level attacking midfielder as a potential replacement, I don't think he's going to be going anywhere. One thing I've been looking at is kind of our transfer spend and how that compares to previous seasons. So obviously Bertrand coming in on a free. I did mention that obviously with Morgan and Fuchs and Matty James leaving, that would have freed up quite a chunk of the wage budget that they could now reallocate to these new signings. But so far, basically on the Samare and the Daka transfers, we spent 45 million. Now, compared to the last kind of 5 years, it's actually that's less than we've been spending. So 16-17 we spent 83 mil, then 80, then 103, then 94, and last season 52. So the club have shown in the last few years that they're prepared to go over and above what we've spent already, even as high as kind of double what we've spent so far. But I suppose the big caveat to that is that we've always sold players for big money, and so the net spend has been a lot smaller. So again, I just looked at the kind of exits and the money that we've had coming in. So 16-17, 47 million, then 45, then 86, then 80, and then 48. So net spend, I think our highest net spend from those numbers is 35 million in 17-18. So obviously, actually, when you look at it just in terms of net spend, we have already spent more than in any of the previous 5 years, but we haven't had any outgoings yet. And I would be very surprised if nobody leaves in the next kind of few weeks. Whether or not there's going to be a big money transfer, obviously, you know, we've been fortunate enough to get really good prices for the players that we've sold, especially the key players anyway. Yeah, I suppose the question is now, are we going to do that again? Are we going to look to, you know, sell off a big asset in order to spend more? Are we happy with the business that we've done already and we don't necessarily need to sell? Or are we just going to sell, as I said, maybe a couple of the squad players? You know, for a Hamza, you might get 10 to 15 million at this point. Probably a bit less for Mendy. So yeah, maybe they're looking to kind of sell a bit of the squad players, not have a big money sale this year, and manage it that way. I think that we probably have some more in the bank. As I said, I'm sure that we'll get another centre back. Just in terms of a numbers game, it's still a position that we need someone. And yeah, like, it's not really been discussed how, you know, whether or not the new training ground has affected the budget at all, or obviously I know that, you know, all clubs have kind of been impacted from COVID, but that's also had a knock-on effect to the transfer prices generally. Like, I think that a lot of players are going for substantially less than they might have kind of, you know, 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, I think it's really positive. It's great to see the players back for pre-season now. You know, they seem to be, you know, kind of working on fitness. I noticed that other clubs like Arsenal already played a friendly, which, you know, they lost 2-1 to Hibs, but not to have a dig, just stating the fact. But I don't think we've got any friendlies for a few weeks. So I think, you know, and if we do, then they're kind of behind closed doors, not public. So yeah, I guess maybe they're concentrating on fitness. They're waiting for the players from the Euros to kind of start coming back so that they can fill out the squad. So our first friendly is actually next Saturday, the 24th of July, against Bertrand. And then we've got Wickham and QPR after that. And then we're straight into the Community Shield against Man City, which, you know, although there's a trophy on the line, it's still a bit of a glorified friendly at the end of the day. And I think that will give us a real insight into what Brendan is thinking for the first game of the season, because, you know, yeah, I think you're gonna tweak and give everyone a chance in the first few friendlies, but when it comes to that Community Shield, that'll be his first team, you know, based on who's available. Obviously, some players might take a little longer after the Euros, but I think considering none of them reached the final, I think that they'd probably all be available for that first Premier League game against Wolves on the 14th of August. So yeah, watch this space. I'll do another video next week, just looking at anything that happens between now and then we're into the friendlies. So obviously I'll be watching them with a keen eye, looking at the new transfers, seeing how they do. Seeing if kind of it looks like he's going to start integrating Dewsbury Hall a bit more into the team. And yeah, obviously we're all very excited to see what Daka and Samare can do in particular. Bertrand, we kind of know he's been in the Premier League for a long time. He's a very solid left back. But the other two, you know, we've heard very exciting things about them, but you know, me personally, I haven't seen them much in action. So yeah, really excited to see that. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next Friday for the next update. See ya. Thanks.